Oh, man, that was so good. So, the talk title for today was "More Please," and that's all I want to say is "More please, more sir, please." More good, more good, more good. And I just, I love hearing in my own head what comes to me when I'm listening to music, because music can spur things. And this whole idea of heaven being something that you arrive at later was a bunch of bunk. That was certainly not what Jesus talked about. He always said it's here and now, and you don't see it. It's right among us. In fact, he didn't say it was in us. He also said it was among us. So it's not just that it's in us, like, oh, it's in me. Sorry for you. It's among us. It's everywhere. Heaven is everywhere, wanting to be revealed. And in the Gospel according to Thomas, he said, if you think heaven is in the sky, then the birds are already there. If you think heaven is in the sea, then the fish are eating it up. So heaven is with us now, but we have been seduced by our own thoughts. That's why the theme for this whole year is heaven is here when the mind is clear. When the thoughts that we have of scarcity and what do they think of me and who am I impressing and man, they're wrong. Who's been thinking that lately? Hey, they're wrong. I know your second service, you just don't want to fess up, do you? I'll tell you, first service is so different. First service fesses up right away, and so they're healed. Because forgiveness is good. It's like, did I say that really? Anyway, when all of that stuff drops away, what is present is this sense of security, this sense of rightness in your world. Like no matter what happens, I can move through it. And that's a miracle. That's such a miracle. There have been times when I've had diagnosis or other things have happened, and yet inside of me I felt so secure. And it's that security that led me through it safely. That's what did it. Not the chatter in my mind. When something took over and the rightness, the sense of who I am and what I am overshadowed, the chatter couldn't even show up. That's heaven. That's what we're going for. That's what I'm aiming for. That's what we're here to talk about. It's Ruby Rebello. Ruby Romero. Well, anyway, Ruby. Practitioner Ruby. All it's going is, Ruby, don't take your love to town. But anyway, you can take the girl out of the country, but you can't take the country and western song out of the girl. That's all I can say. Anyway, Ruby will come to the center, and I will see on her Facebook page, I'm at my spiritual spa. See, we don't just get healthy once. We don't discover heaven once. It's something that we constantly come together to remember and to grow strong in, to be supported by. So thank you for coming to the spiritual spa, and Ruby loves me and will forgive anything I said. So anyway. And the theme for this month is living on the edge. I want to give you an idea of what we're about. Living on the edge. The more we grow and evolve mentally, emotionally, and spiritually, the more we will long to explore new ideas and ways of behaving. We become like little children, full of curiosity and tenacity. We become comfortable with the unknown again. That's living on the edge. Comfortable with the unknown, comfortable with what we haven't done before. Not that we will do it right. See, sometimes the ego develops and I'll do it, but I want to do it if I can do it well. Well, no, a kid doesn't care. Honestly, if you had to do it right as a child, we still wouldn't be walking. We'd just be scooting along. Interesting way of traversing the world. But this is how we grow, is to try new things. That's what, and I also want to, I'm just wrapping a bunch of stuff together. Let's just call this, what I sometimes on Fridays I have, what's in the refrigerator casserole? How many of you have done that? What's in the refrigerator casserole? And sometimes I do what's in the refrigerator omelet. Just throw stuff in. Well, this is what's in my mind talk. So, yes, I have a lot on my mind, but I'm really being inspired by this quote from Judge Thomas Troward, who was one of the main influences on Ernest Holmes, who is the founder of our philosophy and way of life. And Judge Thomas Troward, what I think is a very famous quote, said, "My mind is a center of divine operation. The divine operation is always for expansion and fuller expression. And this means the production of something beyond what has gone before. Something entirely new, not included in the past and yet proceeding out of it in an orderly sequence of growth." When we understand that, then we understand what we do. If I can understand how the divine works, I can understand how I work or could work if I choose to, if I cooperate. Because, see, we have evolved to the place where we can choose to cooperate with what's going to happen. And what's going to happen is that we will continue to evolve willingly or unwillingly, this life or something else. And I'm not saying we're reincarnated. I don't know. I really don't know. But I do know that I will lay this body down and I will continue to live. Probably not called Kathianne anymore, because that was my mother's idea. But I will continue on, and so will you. Life is eternal, love is immortal, and death is but a horizon. And we will find that out, and we'll live that. So sometime or another, Spirit wins. God wins. The universe wins. And it is for winning by expressing more and more of itself through creation, which is goodness. And guess what? We were given free will to say, I don't want to. You know what? Humanity right now is in the terrible twos. No. I've got good for you. No. You're supposed to love each other. No, I don't want to. How about cooperation? Be nice to your brother and sister. Yeah. But eventually, Spirit will push upon us and push upon us and push upon us. And eventually, just out of sheer being tired, sheer fatigue, we will finally agree. Because it takes a lot of work to go up against the universe. It takes a lot of concentration to continually say no to the goodness of God trying to give to us, through us, and for us. So finally we just, okay, fine. And we move on. So the divine operation is always for expansion and fuller expression. So let's look at nature. Judge Thomas Troward said he only studied 2 books. One was the Bible and the other was nature. And out of that, this philosophy came. So we look at the Big Bang. Nothing. Developing, stars, planets, life, Do you know in Hinduism they have the same philosophy in their theology in Hinduism? Nothing became everything. Always expanding. Then it contracts and begins again over billions of years. Let's look at single cells. I studied biology. I loved it. And according to biologists, we all started out with little single cells, and then some single cells got buddies. And pretty soon there were multiple cell organisms besides, and then tongue twisters. Multiple cell organisms started to get other buddies, and then it wasn't just multiple cells, and then you're given the job of circulation. You're given the job of creating a defense system, so skin was developed or shells or whatever, and it became more and more complex and more complex expansion and fuller expression of life, and then intelligence started to develop, and finally it came to what, according to Judge Thomas Troward, us, so that God could recognize itself, because we can recognize God. God sees God through us. God is that which is centered everywhere and circumference is nowhere. And that which I look for, I look with. Meister Eckhart. So this is fuller and fuller expression. And it goes on and on and on and on. And so I love it when I go to Seebeck and people are trying new things. I tried watercolor. Some people tried the choir. Don Beatty, after 30 years, tried the choir. Finally the universe kept just pushing and pushing and okay, fine. I'll sing. How many of you went to Seebeck and tried something new that you'd never done before? Look at this. I love it. Seebeck is an incubator for new stuff. And then the celebration of it. So we are on the edge, but we're on the edge because we can be strong within ourselves. I'm learning more about trees because we are surrounded by trees, and some of them are doing well and some of them aren't. And always the ones that finally don't do well, they're breaking down on the inside. As long as the core is strong, this tree will be strong. And when the core starts breaking down, pretty soon it can't feed the outer circumference, the outer rings. It can't take care of the bark because it's not strong within. So one of the ways for us to live on the edge is to make sure that we're centered as well. So one of the things that we teach here is the necessity for finding our center, our way of connecting with that center. And there's so many different ways of connecting with the center. There's people that get up at 7 and chant. There's people that get up at 7 and pray with Reverend Jerry. There's people that do different things to find their center. And we don't say there is a way, but we know there's many ways. But to do that way, to find that center is important. But I just want to share with you one of mine. Because I love, the thing I love about spiritual practice? You can do it anywhere. You don't have to be here. You don't have to be in the woods, although the woods help. You don't have to be listening to a gorgeous choir or music, although it helps. Spiritual practice can be done anywhere. You can use your breath at anywhere to find your center again, anywhere. And you can chant anywhere. Chanting has been used by so many different spiritual traditions: Buddhism, Hinduism, Christianity. And do you know that we have a sacred chant? We don't have a sacred color. We don't have a lot of stuff. There's so little that we could say is ours, but we do have a chant. Oh yeah, we do. And some people are like, really? Yeah, it's a secret chant, and you only get it. No. At the 5th level of classes. Part of me is just an imp. Never mind. I didn't mean that. So we have a chant. I'm going to teach it to you. We'll do it twice. Join in when you want. But first, pay attention to the room. Be awake to the room. Be awake to what it feels like in here. Now let's see if it shifts. There's only one life. That life is God's life. That life is perfect. That life is my life now. There's only one life. That life is God's life. That life is perfect. That life is my life now. That was the warm-up. Let's do it 5 times. There's only one life. That life is God's life. That life is perfect. That life is my life now. There's only one life. That life is God's life. That life is perfect. That life is my life now. There's only one life. That life is God's life. That life is perfect. That life is my life now. There's only one life. That life is God's life. That life is perfect. That life is my life now. There's only one life. That life is God's life. That life is perfect. That life is my life now. Now, feel the room. There's something about chanting that brings beautiful individual consciousness, which, by the way, individual means undivided. It helps us wake up to that part that's undivided. And you don't have to do it out loud. You can do it in your mind while you're in traffic, while you're in line. So we stay centered, and then we grow. We let our edges grow. The trees put out fronds, because we have a lot of fir trees, put out fronds from the edges. The bark grows from the edges. It's the edge where the growth happens. It's when we try things we haven't tried before that we grow. If we're always staying safe in our center, it's fine, but there's no growth. And when there's no growth, eventually there's decline. I studied biology. That's the way it is. It's either growing or declining. You choose. Choose you this day what you will choose and what you will serve and what you will follow. Growth or decline. And the growth can be just in exploration. Doing something different. Tim Schubert introduced me at a workshop it was a conference I went to in Mexico, and he said, you know what? She started painting. Well, I didn't paint, I do collage. And she started riding horses. Well, yeah. That was my midlife crisis. I'd already had a Corvette, so, what was I going to do? Get a horse? No, get 4. We all have our stuff that we try new things. I started cooking during the pandemic. My husband is so grateful the pandemic happened. He thinks it was a grace of God. He'll even say it. She cooks now. And we can also grow by expanding beyond what we think about ourselves and we think about others and we think about how the world works. So it's not just trying this outdoor stuff, which is, by the way, very important because the way you do anything is the way you do everything. The way you tackle new things is the way that you'll tackle the things in your life that trouble you. But it's also, I think, a way to expand by being awake, aware, and at choice, which I've talked about for, 35 years. We used to have bumper stickers back when we were in Northgate, so Steven Sanders probably remembers it. Awake and aware and at choice, because, I'll tell you about it. It really is the way for us to expand who and what we think we are by taking old technology, ancient wisdom, and applying it to our life in a new way. See, we're called a new thought religion. It doesn't mean like we've got new thoughts about religion. No, it's same old thoughts. Same old ancient wisdom. One of the teachers that I learned the most from is Jesus. Because I'm telling you, he was good. He had spiritual technology that knocked your socks off. In fact, it did knock people's socks off. Scared them to death. He was like a ninja warrior. He didn't need a lightsaber like in Star Wars. He would just truth. Short and sweet and succinct. And it goes right in. It's penetrating. That's ancient wisdom. Let's have a thought about it. instead of what somebody else thought about it. That's new thought. A new thought about my life based on ancient wisdom, not based on what my mama told me. Not based on what society told me. Not based on what I'm supposed to be and do because this is what other people do. That's old thoughts. New thoughts based on ancient wisdom. Awake, aware, and a choice. So awake. Pay attention. Pay attention to your body. Pay attention to your feelings. Pay attention to what's triggering you. Pay attention. That's awake. Your body talks. First service, I love it. People are so cooperative. They really do want to help. And so I said, isn't there a song about body talks? I got all this people. It's, let me hear your body talk. I don't really want to hear your body talk. I know the body talk is like, no, it's Olivia Newton-John. That's not what I was going for. But anyway, for 3 people informed me that, no, yes, you were just one. And then I got emails and texts and... Kathianne, don't go there. Okay. Praise God, I forgot. Anyway, but the body does talk. It body talks. If you've got a kink or a crink or a pain, it may be your body talking, trying to tell you something that's informative. Oftentimes, I will ask someone what's going on for you and where do you feel it in your body? And I let the body talk because the conscious mind's got it all figured out anyway. Well, if you've got it figured out, well, you got problems. And the body is spirit in form. You are the temple of the living God. You get to walk around in the temple of God. And it's holy. And it wants to communicate for your good, for my good, for our good. So we pay attention to our body. One of the things I talked about at Chapala, which is in Mexico, is that I listen to my body. If I start to feel sick, like anything, I take a nap and I tell my body, hey, get over it. And when I wake up, I'm well. And my husband luckily was there and he says, yep, that's what she does. That's what she does. Because I listen, and instead of listening like care for yourself, Kathianne, take a nap and care for yourself, instead of listening that way, how many of you, when you feel something, you go, okay, there's the tickle. Next will be the runny nose. Okay, now I'm going to start sneezing a lot. And then what you watch is the sickness unfold. Instead of listening to your body, it says, if you take a break, I can heal myself really quick. So we pay attention to our body. We pay attention to our emotions, our feelings. But not like, oh, I've got this feeling, and we run off with it and let it just lead us around. But then we ask ourselves, this is the aware part. We are awake to what's going on, and then we become aware of what was happening beneath that. What went off in me that made me think this? What went off in me that made me feel this? Because emotions and feelings always follow a thought. So I love it when I work with people and they've got, I got this thing. It's like, yeah, let's go into it. Ooh. Well, that's living on the edge. Go into it, and every time there's a healing because something is being revealed. Because everything is for our good. Everything, the universe is pushing upon us to reveal more good in us, and sometimes it feels scary. Oh, do I have to pay attention? Can't we just change the world and leave me as I am? No, really. How many of you would really rather that happen? Just change them, leave me alone. I love it. Jerry Berry gave me this wonderful prayer. Bless them, change me. No. Mess with them, change me is what don't change me is what a lot of people want, but that's not it. That's not growth. Growth is, I can feel this, I'm going to move through it, and it can only be for good. Then what happens is when we become aware of our participation and what triggered us, we can be at choice and we can redirect our attention. I'll give you a quick example. I got triggered in Chapala in Mexico because someone I made up, wasn't paying attention to me. It's like everyone is talking to me. Yeah, actually, she came along with someone else, and they were talking to me, and she was really quiet, number one. Then I'm in a group of people, and people are talking to me and saying things, and she's quiet, number two. Third strike. I'm doing the keynote opening address, and everyone's paying attention to me, and she's doing something. I went, isn't it interesting that the one person that's not paying attention to you, you can point them out? And so I went into this whole thing about, what did I do wrong? How, I don't even know this person. How did I offend them? They don't like this color? I mean, how many of you go there? They looked this way, so what did I do? So luckily, I decided for the first time to be at choice. I called them up. And I said, I just said, I'm so confused and I don't want to make stuff up. I told the truth. I'm confused. I saw these things and I don't want to make anything up. And I've made up that I've done something to offend you. And I don't know how I could have, but I want to make amends. With the evidence. So that she could see why I came to this conclusion. And she said, oh, no, you don't understand. I've got 5 different things, big things going on in my life, and I was so distracted. I don't even know why I showed up, because it was hard for me to be present anywhere. I could have been anywhere and not been present. And I'm sorry that you noticed it and you took it personally, and I realized that if I'm going to be in the crowd, I need to leave my stuff someplace else. I'm really sorry, and we're going to work together on some stuff. It's like, do you see the choice? I was awake to what was bothering me. I was aware of what I was doing, and I chose to re-choose. That's the edge. That's the edge. That's the ring of growth. Supported by, I'm God, she's God, we're God. Let's have a conversation. What would happen in our country if we came from, I'm God, they're God, let's have a conversation? Instead of making stuff up about people people don't even talk to. Does that make sense? Oh, phew. So, I want to share some Beatitudes. These are new Beatitudes. I'm really into the Beatitudes. For those of you that are on my nightly calls, I did, 7 or 8 nights just on the Beatitudes from the Aramaic language and how they could have been translated. And these are new Beatitudes. And I will just say, if people really wanted to help children function more, more spaciously in the world, I think putting the Beatitudes in a classroom would be better than the 10 Commandments. Blessed are the peacemakers. Blessed are the poor in spirit, which just means those who are teachable. Blessed are those who are teachable. Not blessed are those who are teaching, which is me right now. So these are the Beatitudes. They come from a book called The Finished Kingdom by Lillian DeWaters. Blessed are the poor in spirit. Once again, blessed are those who are teachable. The believing, for they shall see God. Blessed are those who believe in angels. How many of you believe in angels? I don't know. I've never seen an angel. But there have been times I should have died. And I didn't. And I think, angel? Blessed are those who believe in angels, for they alone can behold them. Blessed are those who listen for the voice of the silence. for they alone can hear it. It has been said that the language of God is silence, and everything else is just interpretation. Blessed are those who look toward unseen thoughts, for they shall gather them. Blessed are those who believe in miracles, for they shall experience them. Blessed are those who have faith in the fourth dimension, for they alone can enter it. Blessed are those who vision towards the finished kingdom, which is already here. The kingdom of heaven is upon us. The kingdom of heaven is in us. The kingdom of heaven is around us. For they alone shall walk in it. Blessed are they who, when God shows up, have been waiting, for they alone are ready. Thank you, sweet Spirit, for drawing us here this evening, this day. I don't know why I said evening. It's evening somewhere. And allowing us to remember that when we are strong in our core, it's easy to go out to the outer limits of what we've known before, been before, and thought we could do before. And I speak my word of blessing for each and every one of us, that we live from that sacred center and we express our sacred self into the world, into existence, forever and ever and ever. Amen. For there will be no end to our experience of life. And so it is.